And now, from Grid Square Echo Mike 48, this is 100 Watts and a Wire.
Well, hello and welcome to 100 Watts and a Wire. This is amateur radio amplified on 100 Watts and a Wire. It's Christian. My call sign is Kilo Zero Sierra Tango Hotel. Whether you're an experienced ham radio operator or just getting started, this podcast is designed to mentor, entertain, and provide a welcoming community for radio enthusiasts around the world. We cover news, topics, and information from the world of amateur radio, and you're listening to episode 390, Ham Radio News, topical discussions, Q&A, questions already coming in, and more. And you can tune in to the live recording every Sunday, 6 o'clock Central, to catch up on episodes. And you can subscribe wherever you listen to your podcast. Your questions are welcome now in the chat. You can send them during the week on our social media outlets. And we are live. Steve is here, W7UDI as usual, and we are goofing around because it's so exciting. It's so exciting to be with you guys on Sundays. I know I wait for it. It's one of my most anticipated days of the week. 2 o'clock comes around, and I'm like, oh, man, I could go. What are the guys doing? Just 5 more hours. Okay, I'll go out and rake or do whatever it is. But what's going on, Steve? How was your work week? Were you staying out of trouble? Or are you getting? Are you the hammer or the
trouble?
nail?
It was not as busy this week as it was as the past couple weeks, but it was pretty good. Not too bad, and weekend a little bit on the wet side, dry, and but today spent pretty much a good chunk of the day out here in the shack.
Well, good deal. Oops, we gotta let them know that Scotty's having some internet connectivity, and that's code word around the podcast world for contract negotiations. It's one of those things. It's a weird time. It starts in February, and he's like, Dan sends off the text, and it's like, I'm having a little trouble with my Wi-Fi because he's where in the what part of the earth is he that doesn't have it? The digital divide is where Scotty is tonight, and it just means that we owe him some money, Steve. So that's all I'm guessing. Boy. It's a negotiation. So I'm looking around.
He probably wants a makeup person and stuff to, products for the hair and all that.
It's the hair. It's the hair. It's I run the FT8 thing. I'm doing this and this and that. And anyway, anybody who's thinking about it, starting your ham radio podcast, think of this. You get these grown folks with long hair. Go with the guys with no hair. Then you don't hear about it. First, it's Paul. Uncle Paul wants to have many people in there. Must 629 hairs, not one more. Like all these demands. It gets hard to keep it together. And so, when people don't show up, it's usually a contract negotiation. But there you are. If you have questions, put a Q in front of it, and we will try to get a hold of those questions and pull them out for you here tonight, so to speak. Woo! Did not mean it that way, Ric Flair. All right, a little bit of serious things. We're going to talk about a little portable operation tonight, but a couple of things in our world is going on, and I couldn't wait to talk to Steve. I thought, I'm going to text him. No. We can do this one on the show. It's always better when we just kind of spontaneously go. We have a guide that we go by. But anyway, let's talk about this Chinese balloon. It's been dubbed the Chinese spy balloon. Mm-hmm. And I was really curious yesterday. I made a quick video for TikTok. Hello to our TikTok viewers. I appreciate you guys. That's growing over there. The 1-minute hits are fantastic. If you're from there, thumbs up to you. But, the feedback from that, it's very interesting to me. Forget about the politics of it, right? We know that the United States is being watched by all of our adversaries, all of our rivals, whether it's the Russians or it's China. We know they're watching. Anyway, I was curious. I was thinking to myself, this thing made it all the way from the West Coast, Pacific Ocean, across. It went over Missouri. People saw it in St. Louis. I did not.
Oh, you didn't see it?
I
Oh,
did
bummer.
not see it. My wife thought she had seen it.
Uh-huh.
And it's possible because if you go on Twitter and do any work like that, there were photographs from St. Louis, and I'm sure all the great states all the way toward the East Coast. It came down the hard way, Steve. We sent our boys up there, the Top Gunners, and they pierced it, and it became part of the ocean. But I'm curious to see what you think. But what was really getting me was I was like, and again, forget about the politics. We don't talk about politics on the show and in the community. We want to stick to things that keep us connected, right? But I'm thinking, what was it capturing, right? It was capturing video, I'm sure, video.
Probably.
Was it sending messages back? What was it using to gather information? My tech geek thing, I turned into a geek, man. I wasn't thinking as much as the politics and that kind of thing. And it was like, what's on there? Because I saw a huge array of solar, to power this thing up and stuff. So I have no idea. I can imagine they were gathering information through video. They may have been sending signal back somewhere. Now, this is where I turn it over to somebody who knows a little bit more about these things.
Where?
I don't know. He's coming. He'll be here. Let me keep talking a while, but I'm looking at that phone line. You let me know. What do you think, Steve? Like, I was fascinated by just the technological aspects of China's no joke in terms of being a powerful country and their technology. What do you think what would you put on something like that if it accidentally,
Well, when it first came out, I mean, the reports, it's like, oh, we got this Chinese spy balloon or whatever. And they were pretty quiet about it in the beginning. And it was kind of like, okay, why use a balloon? But okay, that's something different and low tech. And let's see what happens. And then they're going, well, it's guided. It's going over Montana. It's going over some missile bases and some sensitive U.S. military installations. So they figured there was some kind of guidance on it. Then the Chinese came out and said, it's a weather balloon, and it got off course. And it's like, okay, that's reasonable. And it was just, who knows? But you had this huge solar array on there. And, this thing's floating around 80,000 feet. And, the ground pictures, they're zoomed in. And it's like, this is a pretty big array and a pretty big balloon. And I can imagine what our pilot buddies were doing up there at, they were a lot closer and how big it was. So it was kind of like, well, that's interesting. The only thing I wish I wish it was more Mylar so we could do a little balloon bounce and bounce some VHF, UHF signals off it and see what kind of DX operation we can do on UHF. Bouncing, get your, instead of hitting the moon, let's get something a little bit closer to us and bounce off the balloon and BME or something like that. Balloon, Earth, balloon, whatever, or something. But who knows? But that's kind of what I was thinking. But I saw the video yesterday that it became fish bait. So now it's swimming in the Atlantic.
Was there any doubt, and of course there was the size of this thing. They were saying reports are, man, I want to not go too deep into this because I think that the media has a really interesting role in our life, and what we're given is what is, But, they were saying that it was 3 buses, the size of 3 buses, this array, and they didn't want to take it out over the country. And my thought was like, I totally get that. I just, I didn't care for it. The fact that, number one, is it made it into our airspace at all was kind of surprising to me. And then, of course, it was able to go all the way from where you live, all the way out to, South Carolina was a lot of the videos. So I guess it was out there near the ocean on the Atlantic side. What could it, and it only took a couple of days, it took a couple of days to get out there, but it got to go over the whole country. And I know they were watching it. So, that kind of
came in over Alaska, which, and then it kind of worked its way down through Canada, if I understand right, and then I guess once it got over Montana, then the Dakotas, it got everyone started getting wound up over it, or that's when it was reported to the media, and then
Right.
it just became this feces show, and here we go, and it was
Yeah.
kind of fun for the week.
It was an interesting thing to watch, and of course, we may never know what they find out about this thing. They probably won't just go ahead and announce it with full transparency. It was this and this and this, and they had this thing, but so we may never really know. But maybe that's the skeptic in me with the media and maybe the information that comes out of Washington sometimes. But I was really curious what kind of technology could sustain itself to go from China all the way across our country, and it could have probably made itself back, had it not been blasted by our finest military on the planet. But alas.
Chances are, if it went over Chinese territory, they probably would have shot it down to retrieve the equipment or just let it go into the drink. But the only thing I kind of see from the ham radio aspect is, now what's this going to do for these STEM projects that these kids that are sending balloons up, and they'll throw an APRS transmitter on there and this thing will float around. And we've had a few amateur radio balloons that have circumvented the globe once or twice or three times. So it's going to be interesting now from here on out how our hobby is going to be somewhat affected by it. And they're like, what sidecar? That's a reach. And it's like, no, it's not a reach. It's we have people in our hobby here and students and STEM students in high schools and stuff. They're doing these balloon exercises, and we're going to be getting into that mode again come spring. And so what's that going to do to us? And as a group of, hobbyists. So because now it's all heightened. Anytime there's going to be a balloon floating around, everyone's going to go, oh my God, it's a spy balloon from the North Koreans. So go figure.
Who knows this? And I open it up to all of our listeners because the answer's there, and maybe I didn't read enough on this. But how did they know where it came from? Were they able to scramble a message? Does anybody know that? I'm just sharing. I'm throwing that out there. Did you guys hear any of it? How did they know it was a spy balloon from China in the first place? I'm wondering if radio intercepted it. You know what I mean? Normal folks could not put that thing together like that. With that array, that solar array was beautiful. By the way, I'm like, that's cool. That's like a really cool thing. And I don't think our kids are going to be doing that. But I wonder, did anybody hear how they figured that out? I guess that's high military tactical stuff that we're not privy to.
And it could be speculation on the media. I mean, who knows? I figure our governments have been going back and forth and talking or whatever, and they kind of have an idea, and who knows? I don't know. But that solar array would be kind of cool. I could bet those guys down in Bouvet could use a solar array like that.
Sure. Lionel says the Chinese claimed it, so that does make sense. It makes sense. And they said it was a weather balloon.
After it was in the U.S., the continental U.S. airspace for a day or two, then they finally claimed it, said, yeah, it's ours, and it's a weather observation balloon that went off course now. And it was a private company, and then the conspiracy theorists come out, well, it's the government because every company in China is run by the government, whether it's private or not, or that's what they're saying, not me. And so it's been just kind of fun to watch the show going back and forth.
Is it true, my friends, that our government said the balloon had a tag on it that said "Made in China"?
It could have had. I saw a picture of it that said Bouvet on it.
Was it full of Bouvet radios?
There you go.
I mean, it could have just been a blimp of the Wushan or Bofang factory. We make light of it. There are a couple disappointing things of how it hit our airspace. I imagine they scrambled some signal and figured out what it was. And then it was like, oh, okay. They figured out technology and de-scrambled, scrambled, whatever they did, and figured out where it was coming from. The fact that it came across and had to go the whole length of our country before it could be shot down bothers me a little bit. But not to be a conspiracy, what did you call him? A conspiracy theorist, this is? Mm-hmm. I think that's an awful long time to just kind of let it go. And was it a shiny quarter? Stay tuned. We'll find out. I don't know if it was or not, but I don't know if it was a distraction. But lots of great feedback on TikTok, some stuff on YouTube. We had our Discord. Folks were talking about a little bit, but staying respectful. You know what I mean? It gets tricky trying to keep your wits about you and not get too political when it's a different country and that sort of thing. I appreciate everybody trying to be cool with it. My angle is let's talk about that technology on board and how it was communicated.
That would be kind of cool to find out.
I mean, love that.
What were they doing? I mean, if it was a spy balloon, then it was a spy balloon. We were testing you. Okay, be done with it.
And we shot that mess down, and that's what you get when you mess with us. Mm-hmm. Okay, but
if it was a weather balloon, okay, what instrumentation were you looking at? How were you getting the data back and forth and things like that? Just more on the geeky nerdy side would be kind of cool.
And if it was weather, this is like a dream sequence here. Like I know this isn't real. This is an ideal state, but if it was a weather thing that just got away, I'd love for our government to say, yep, that's what it was. This thing got hit up in some sort of system and the weight of it kept it on track, sort of on track, and blew it off a little bit as it hit over. You know what I mean? Like if there was an explanation where it wasn't like nefarious and it wasn't, hey, we weren't trying to, this is just, it's a friggin' balloon, guys. Sorry. I'd love to hear that too. I don't know that we'll hear that. This could be used for political advantage, disadvantage, whatever. And I just don't want to go there, but I'd love to know the technology, if it was weather related and it just got off course, maybe there's some science in it that we can learn from. You know what I mean? Whether it's technology or these weather things that they put up, we could learn. You bring up a great point about STEM and the lessons that could be learned from a runaway balloon, And if it is hardcore spy stuff, I just think to me, weather can be found anywhere. You can know what it is anywhere right now. There's great systems and satellites, and there's ways to tell weather. So I don't know. I don't know what to do.
Maybe next time, if they do this, they should put an APRS tracker on there.
Yeah,
that way they can kind of like, hey, it's just a ham radio experiment. And at least we can track it. We can watch it go wherever it is. But hey, it's cool.
Right on. Yeah, thanks for indulging us on that. We're sticking with technology a little bit. The transmitters, the receivers, the gathering information, how it's being sent, all fascinating to many of us, apart from the other types of things that were happening. So I gotta do some business here. Now that we don't have Scotty here, I'm double dipping, so I'm gonna have to cut into the funds to pay myself double. I'm taking your money, Scotty. This kind of dicky move with the hair and all this, asking for all this. I hope you can't even watch on YouTube. Anyway, this week in radio history, Steve, Ernest Alexanderson successfully tests a multi-tuned antenna. That was in 1916. On February 7th, 1950. Did you want to make a comment about that? Go ahead.
No, that was cool.
Ernest Alexanderson. That's quite a name. In 1915, the first train-to-station message was in Binghamton. This is a word that I got to say it a couple times. Binghamton, New York. Help me out here. Binghamton.
Binghamton?
Yeah. Binghamton. I got to nod my head in a weird way to get it all out. Binghamton. That was in 1915. In 1958, the Advanced Research Projects Agency, the ARPA, later the DARPA, was formed. And that's
DARPA,
what happened.
Yep.
DARPA.
DARPA, and that was basically the father of the internet. Not Al Gore.
Not Al Gore. That, I think, was not transparent. And that might have been a lie. That's all I'm saying.
Just a little.
And I invented the double-sided... No, I'm not going to do it. You're not going to get me to turn into a dirty man here. The sexy music comes on, and I'm like, the double-sided baby. There are some events going on, Steve. February 11th and 12th, the CQ WWW RIDI WPX contest is happening on the 11th and 12th. Any thoughts on the CQ RIDI contest?
That's a big one, that big RIDI contest. So that brings out all the heavy-duty RIDI operators. So it will be a busy weekend on the band there, in the RIDI sub-band.
That's something that I don't know nearly enough about, RIDI. I need to dig in. There's so many shades to this onion and layers to it. Mm-hmm. February 11th and the 12th, the Oh Miss QSO party is happening, the 11th and the 12th, so listen to those. February 11th, National Inventors Day. N2I will be in Edison, New Jersey. Listen for that. And February 6th through the 11th, Super Bowl 57 special event station, W7ASC in Phoenix, Arizona. You can check all of this information on our Discord channel. Scotty does a good job of gathering this stuff and putting it up there in the channel for events. So there you go for that. Thank you, Scotty, for that information. We got a new sponsor. Got to talk to you guys for a minute. It's important. I don't know if we wanted to have the sexy music playing, but it's so sexy. Let's bring it down just to talk about PowerFilm Solar and Gigaparts, you guys. PowerFilm Solar and Gigaparts. PowerFilm Solar is like a power company, right? And they make these great... This isn't even part of the ad. I want to tell you about them a little bit. They are providing quality solar power solutions for your portable operating needs, and you can explore PowerFilm's selection of quality products by visiting gigaparts.com and do a search for 100 watts. I do want the music because I want to break it down. Oh, you know what's sexy, Steve?
Oh, baby.
Is a foldable solar panel. Take it out there on your portable ops. But what's really cool about PowerFilm Solar, we've been trying to work together for years, literally for years, and we finally figured it out, and we've brought in Gigaparts, and I always want to have sort of you call them a retailer, Steve? I don't know, a retail store, right? They sell everything. So we've got Gigaparts now, and we've got PowerFilm Solar combining together to sponsor the show, right? And we always say if you find value in 100 watts in a wire, you can support the content in the community you enjoy. There's ways to become a member. We do the buymeacoffee.com. I'll put that up there for you real quick. And you can support it financially, right? But here's a real easy way. I want to help you help us. That's free. I talked to Steve a little bit about it, and it's not going to cost anything to anybody. Here's what I'd like you to do. Go to gigaparts.com, and in the search bar, put 100 watts. One word, 100 watts. And hit go, and it's going to bring you up the PowerFilm Solar selection. All the stuff they're selling at Gigaparts for PowerFilm Solar. Between me and you and hundreds and hundreds of our friends, if you go to that site, do a search, pull up that stuff, they're going to collect this information, not your information, but they want to see how many hits it gets, right? They want to see what kind of traffic 100 watts in a wire can generate to this website to see if there's value in being a sponsor. That's transparency, Steve. That's transparency. Mm-hmm. That's how this works. If they see that the people who listen to this show or watch this live stream actually do that, they'll be more inclined. It isn't even about the buying, I don't think, because this is quality stuff. It's expensive. And shoot, I think I can show you this page. I'm going to go ahead and just turn this off. They're getting more than they pay for this week, Steve, but this is important. All right, cut the music. Here we are. It's me and Steve-O now on your screen. Gigaparts.com. Here you go up into the bar. Type in 100 watts. And up comes all of these great solar options, right? And what I'm saying to you is if you do this, they can count and track the traffic. That traffic results in, hey, it's good. These people are going there. They're listening to the show and they're going out and checking our stuff out. Buying it, that's on you. I don't think that even matters as much. So anyway, that's complete transparency how this sponsorship, what they hope to gain is a little bit of traffic to the website, Waka Waka. Was that fair? That make enough sense, Steve? You can talk about it if you like. I've been talking in circles.
It makes perfect sense. Yeah. So yeah, just go visit Gigaparts and just search on 100 watts in a wire and look at what items come up and check them out, and then shop around the Gigaparts website for your needs. For whether you need radios, cables, accessories, microphones, or anything else, give Gigaparts a try.
Thank you, Dennis. We appreciate you. Our friends here, you're invited to join us live. We do the live show every Sunday, 6:00. It does get packaged. I don't even edit it. It is what it is, and we try to make it good to start with. Cut it up. The audio goes out to the podcast listeners, right? So we have a lot of people listening. The people who are here now are in the chat, and they're already going to do that. So it doesn't cost you anything to do it. It's a click. Look around, and if something suits your needs, by all means, do your thing. I'll work to get you a discount. But the easiest way right now to have them see something in our community.
Do a little window shopping.
What the hell?
As your spousal unit would say. I'm going window shopping.
Now, if you have questions about that, now I own a couple PowerFilm solar pieces for sure, and they're really good. And this is the video. I mean, they're totally getting way more than they paid for here. So I'm trying to help lay a foundation. But I've got one, and if you go to their site, right? This is the one where I was like, you should just say, you've been military tested. They take these solar panels. These aren't the hard case ones. These are ones that fold up, right? You put in your bag or whatever. They're expensive. I ain't going to lie to you. I'm going to be transparent on that too. It's quality stuff, but it's pricey. Well, they took these things out, Steve, and I don't know if you noticed it. I won't pull it up here because most people are listening. They shot this son of a bitch. They shot the thing and put the gear back on it just to test and see how it was doing. And it was a little less than, but it was still providing power after this thing had been shot. And I was telling our contact there, guys should talk about it. It's military tested or military American made. It's American made. And in Iowa, they're in Ames, Iowa, make this company. Anyway, look, guys, we love you. It's just transparency. This is how this sponsorship is being gauged, is just to see what our crew will do. If they'll go look, who cares? That's enough. You ain't pay for that much. Gigaparts. No, I ain't pay. We're community supported for the most part. I'm talking about all this. We appreciate it. Steve, I want to talk to you about Bouvet. Just to change gears here, y'all. Here we go again. I made a little video today. They are there. It's very exciting. And I don't know if you can pull up the Discord, because Uncle Paul's been following this. And I'm reading this and I'm following along. I'm going to go ahead and put this up on our screen here. But first, let me just talk to you first about, I'm worried, Steve. I'm worried for the human aspect of this. If you read the last report, this shiz doesn't look like a slam dunk, man.
Oh, God, no.
And my instinct tells me that they've got as much food as they could take, which it's a bigger boat. They probably have enough, but they do have a big team. The weather's been really rough. They're coming up with contingency plans. They're trying to set up base camps. And I got this feeling like, and it was a human feeling like, damn, man, like, I think some portion of this DXpedition will happen. Whether they get up one antenna and they work whatever, I think something's going to happen, but I don't know at the scale that they intended to. And you being a firefighter probably have good insight into these contingency programs and thoughts. I was reading on our Discord channel the latest information that's coming out, and I'm trying to stay positive, but I wasn't really thinking that this doesn't look great to me. And I'll pull it up, but go ahead and talk, Steve. I'm not trying to be a bummer, but I know it might sound like that, and I think that they're going to get something off here.
Oh yeah, they will. I mean, it's so if you kind of looked at the website, the official website of the DXpedition, they kind of had a 3-step plan. It went as far as operating. They had this goal to operate for about 3 weeks, and so there was going to be step 1. There was drawings and layouts of the camp, the operating tents, the sleeping tents, what stations they're going to have online, and then there was going to be this next phase, and get more stations online, and then the final phase, the third phase, which was going to have the full Monty, and this is the way they're going to operate. I think it was, now they've kind of ran into things that, is you can't factor in from planning from afar, and it's the weather and then the terrain, because they can't be on the beach, which is the easiest place to set up, because of restrictions from the authorities that said, okay, you have to be here. So they're climbing up a hill or a cliff of some sort, and they're getting a couple hundred feet off the deck, basically. So I think with the weather, with the terrain and everything else, it's becoming a little bit harder for them to accomplish the tasks that they had in mind. So, and like everything else, now it's time to adapt, overcome, and move on. So they're going to try to do the best they can, and we just have to sit there and wait patiently. But, I mean, the last group that tried to, do the activation, they couldn't even step foot on the island. Because of other issues. This trip, they're on the island, but not everybody, just a core select few of 4 or 5 guys, or from what I gather. And so we just got to be waiting patiently, and they want to be there just as badly as we want them to be there. But, their safety is the, paramount. And you also have the captain of the vessel he basically is running the show. He could just say, nope, we're done. We're out of here.
Get on. So we had an update. We had an update today. I'll read it through. It's not a very long one. It's 3Y0J team leader Ken, LA7GIA. He says, quote, during the weekend, the 3Y0J team has adjusted our plans. We are currently preparing this Sunday morning to land essential supplies to survive on the island and build the camp to manage the upcoming storm prediction for Thursday. In addition, we will attempt to land radio equipment in a different operation during the most favorable time slots. This landing depends on the conditions at Bouvet, which have proven to be very difficult. The setup is a small-scale setup that, if we succeed, will possibly be extended. More info later. That's 3Y0J and that team. And for our viewers who are here, I did, and I will pull up some images to click through. And, there's a superhuman element here. I think what I was thinking today was like, we don't know their safety. We were hearing things about how, some members were getting sick, and of course, I think you will. It's cold AF out there, and you're out there in this really rough water. And they do have a Facebook group that you can join to see some of the images, and I'm sharing those with our friends who are here during the live stream. But it looks cold, it looks choppy, and who knows how much food. I'd love to know again how much food they took with them, how much equipment, and how it all is gonna pan out. It looks amazing, but just a couple penguins hanging out. Maybe they're taking
penguins,
some
seals.
leads.
Yeah, it's it's quite the operation. And and the guys that are going there, I just hate to say it, but they're not spring chickens, and so things are going to take a little bit longer to get done, and so it's quite the adventure for those guys, and I just admire them for what they're doing, and just for the love of ham radio.
Yeah, I mean, it's an amazing undertaking. I don't know. Someone asked me, would I have gone? And, I think the young man in me is like, yeah, good, yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, but then I'm like the practical side of me today with the family and the need of this family to be, make it back and be with and earn. It's a different system that I need. So no is the answer is no, I wouldn't not be able to go. But,
it's the cost. There's a lot of it.
Cost.
And, when we were in our younger days, we had family and then the cost. I mean, these members put up about 50% of what the total cost of the DXpedition. So they're only raising about 50% of the cost. And whatever cost overruns happen, these guys have to pay it out of their pocket. So they got a lot of skin in the game. And I mean, in reality, when we're in our 30s and 40s and we got a family, we don't have the luxury to spend on this hobby. And it's like, and just go to your wife or your spousal unit and say, hey, I need to spend $25,000 because I want to go out and sit on some island for 3 weeks, but I'm going to be gone for 2 months because of the preparation to get there and the whole 9 yards and getting back. It's, your spouse is going to say, no, and F no. But when you're, our age and gray hair and stuff like that, then the wife is going, yeah, get out of here. I don't want to see you for the next 2 months. Pablo, the pool boy's coming over.
And sign this here. What is this, honey? Life insurance, millions and millions. No, I think that because we were planning to talk specifically about portable operations, and this is the ultimate portable operation, and so we can do that while we're here tonight. There are some questions I want to get to, so I won't harp on this, but you mentioned the age of the people, and they're not spring chickens. We ran through a couple photographs with respect to those folks, but I think about all the things you can't leave behind. I think about what medications you might be taking and how many, did you pass for? If they extend this trip, did you have what you need? It's not like you can get it dropped in on you. I don't think, what's his face from Amazon's going to deliver out there, even if you have the Prime. So, taking just your medication and your, the clothes, whatever you need, plus the radio gear, it got me thinking like, man, I don't know. There's a tone coming out this morning that, look, guys, this is a rough one. I know they want to do it. They're like, they can taste it. It's like they are hungry and they got a taste of that sweet potato pie or whatever it is. And they're going to do something, but I'm curious to see what that'll be. And
they will do the best they can with what they got and just go with the conditions and roll with it. And I think in the end they'll do fine and they'll do good, and it will be some great stories when they get back as they do the talk circuit out the Hamvention and
they're coming on here. I'm getting somebody to come on here, and I'm going to end up asking questions that nobody asked.
There you go.
Things we talked about a little bit. We talked to their what do you call them? Their public information officer, and we talked about bringing them on, and maybe even when they get settled there, because they're meant to have really good Wi-Fi, is what I'm hearing. Is they've got really great, strong Wi-Fi. And those sorts of things. So we'll see what happens, y'all. I'm not trying to be a bummer, but I'm a realist. And I'm thinking, man, they're augmenting, and they're just trying to set up to survive. And whew, stay tuned. All right, some of the Hamfests are actually happening. Steve, February 10th through the 12th, Orlando Hamcation. I've never been there, but I would go. I would go
either.
there.
That's on the bucket list.
somebody get a hold of these people and say 100 Watts and a Wire should be doing a live show from this joint. I know everybody else is probably down there, but if not, maybe we go to Idaho and we go to these real small ones, since we're real small and all. Orlando Hamcation, February 10th and through the 12th. February 11th, the Boat Anchor Hamfest in Augusta, Maine. Steve, have you ever been to that one?
Ooh.
The Boat Anchor Hamfest in Augusta. I bet you it's cold.
Looks like fun.
Ooh. Also, February 11th, the 48th Annual Ham Radio Swap and Shop in Traverse City, Michigan. I've been to Traverse City. I've never been to that Swap and Shop. I like the sound of that. Kick it. Ooh. Also, February 11th, a lot going on. February 11th. Hendricks County Hamfest in Danville, Indiana. Shoot, that's not too far from here. See, we should go to all of these. They're all going to Hamcation. We'll be at the little ones. I like that.
The little guys. Yeah, there you go.
Got it, right? And let's see. If your club or anybody's having a gathering that you know of, let us know, and we can put it in the events channel on our Discord server. Drop us a line. Let us know what's happening. And that would be fantastic. And if you're looking for a power solution, check out Bioenno Power, offering the best lithium phosphate batteries for your ham radios. Visit bioennopower.com. That's BIOENNO power.com. Well, we've got some questions. If you have a question, I'm trying to keep up. I'm trying, y'all. I can try to keep up. But if you have a question, put a Q in front of it. Steve and I'll, this is the thing where you notice, I guess I do got to pay that long-haired hippie gummy bear eating antenna building some of them because
maybe we got to kick up the gummy bears. Maybe
more gummies.
More gummies. Maybe they need to be sweeter or something.
He gets paid in gummies. Is that it? He gets paid in gummies.
I don't know. I'm not part of the contract negotiation team.
This just in from Mark. He said they raised $750,000 for that. I imagine Bouvet. Is that what we're talking about, Mark? Good information there.
Yeah. So
that sounds right.
Half of that's from the team members that are. Yeah. So that's spread amongst those team members. So they got a lot of they got coin into this.
They're getting up there. So they're going to want to get in there for real.
They want to get their money's worth. So.
All right, good deal.
Okay, got a couple of questions.
Oh, do you? All right, go ahead. If you can read those, that'd be cool.
So we have KD5 PCK. So anybody work the Chinese balloon? I haven't, but it sure would have been fun.
It would be.
So
I was asking people that too. I was wondering if anybody was able to hear anything. Did anybody come out of it? Hearing any kind of transmissions, it's curious to me. It's the nerd, the nerd geek. Do you have another one?
But, well, let's see. Where did I just saw it? Oh, Lou was wondering to know N9LTW, who cuts your hair? Ha, 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 ha.
Oh, me? I did it. Bic. I think it's called Mr. Bic or Gillette or something like that. Good grief. The train's coming through.
We got a good one here from Private Nombre. And when hanging a dipole, is it common to use LMR 400 to the lift point to then connect a lighter coax to reduce the weight, or should I just keep it LMR 400 all the way? It depends. I would say on the length of your run. So for what I'm gathering is that the LMR 400's kind of running down on the ground or in conduit in the ground or whatever. And then once it goes vertical or elevated, then you're using something like RG58 or 8X. That's one way of doing it. Taking LMR 400 all the way up to the feed point of the dipole. Yeah, you can do it. There's the weight of the LMR 400, but be cautious with it. LMR 400 is not designed to be flexed around because the center conductor is a copper-coated aluminum wire. It's solid, and over a course of time, it will break and it will snap, and you'll have problems. There is a flexible version of it which will have a stranded center conductor, and that would be the better choice for if you're going to run it up to the feed line all the way up to the feed point. So it all depends on your situation, but if it's true LMR 400, be really careful where you put it and how you're using it in a space where it's going to be moving around. And it's more designed to be kind of fixed and stay in one place. But yeah, you could do it. The other thing is if you use like RG8X, no problem. It's if it's a 40-meter antenna, the losses are going to be pretty minimal. The only time you're going to end up running into a problem with RG8X, if you're running high power, like 1500 watts and 10 meters, the coax will have a power rating limitation at about 1000 watts, 1200 watts. Plus, then you'll get the insertion loss. So not such a good idea. But if you're running 80, 160, 40 meters, 8X is just fine, and it's lightweight.
Question came in for you, Steve. Can I make a double bazooka from LMR 240? Is it as useful as LMR 400?
Sure. Yeah, you can make it out of 240, RG59. Yeah, you can make them out of pretty much any coax. It's, ideally you want coax has a copper braid and center conductor. There are RG6 coax out there that have the shield is stranded with, it's a steel stranded shield. And it's a little tough to solder that, but LMR 240, that's RG8X. It's just, if you have a whole bunch of it and you want to do it, do it.
Question from Ricardo.
Remove the shield.
Ricardo lives in Paradise. It's called Paradise. Question, he says, do it for a future show. We're going to do it now. We're going to do it now. You know what I mean? You know what I mean. Stranded or single center core on coax. What would be better for which
stranded or solid
situation?
center conductor. So, if the coax, for me, I like to use coax that kind of fits the application of and what the coax is going to be subjected to. So if it's a run that's going to be pretty well fixed, if it goes up a support structure up to the top of a tower or a mast or whatever, and it's going to be taped or tie wrapped or strapped to that support structure and is not going to move, solid conductor's fine. Now, if it's going to be going to a dipole off center fed, and this coax is going to be flapping in the breeze, or it's a jumper or a loop that's going to go from the support on the mast, tower, or whatever to your hex beam or beam, then you want that to be stranded. You can use a solid conductor, center conductor, but over a course of time, it's going to have a higher rate of failure because it's being moved around and flexed, and never fails. When it's going to break, it's not going to be in the summertime. It's not going to be in the spring. It's not going to be in the fall. It will be in the dead of winter. And the suck factor will be high, and you'll be kicking yourself in the pants. So look at the application of what you're going to use this coax for, and think of all the external effects that are this coax is going to be subjected to, like wind, ice, those things. And but if that's all you have, put it up, and then just be ready that someday down the road this is going to fail. But between now and then, maybe replace it when it's a good time, when you get another piece of feed line, or between now and then. But it never happens. I mean, I've done it.
All antennas are temporary, right? We mean them to be
exactly
forever and ever. But a question from Donald. He wants to know a suggestion for a 10-meter antenna that might work better locally. He can reach Australia on 10 meters, FT8, But dang, if I can join a local net. Any ideas for Donald? 10-meter antenna. That's for everybody, the collective. So anybody listening, anybody watching, put it in the chat. But any thoughts on that, Steve?
I'm trying to think because you want something kind of a ground wave, and I think a vertical for local stuff might work better on 10 meters. Because once you kind of go into horizontal, it doesn't take much to get above a half wavelength, and now you're going to start, getting your angle up there and the dangle, and start working DX. I know the vertical is going to be really low angle of radiation, so it's going to. But I think it might help on the ground wave. It's going to be kind of tough, but I would kind of venture to say maybe a simple quarter wave ground plane might work, or ground mounted vertical would be a good start, and see how that pans out.
Thank you for the question. Dennis has a question. Pros and cons of mixing coax types in feeders.
You just have barrel connections, so those are a place of a little bit of insertion loss, very minor. The biggest problem is if they're not sealed up properly, you're going to have a place for water egress or ingress, and then getting into your coax and causing issues there. So if that's what you have, perfect, great, do it. I've done it, and it's bit me in the butt because I've had I did a stupid. It was like, and this is one of those things I just like, okay, this is what I have right now. Let me throw it in, get it up in the air, get it going. And then a year or two later, you forget about it. And then I've had a failure, and it's like, oh, the antenna's bad. Nope. It's not. Okay, it's the coax. Okay, where you got off the ends on each end, and you go, okay, my connector went bad. Nope, it's still bad. And then come to find out, I had a splice, two connectors and a barrel connector there in the middle. I had a layer of tape on it. It was inside a conduit, and I totally forgot about it, and it bit me in the butt. And so those are the drawbacks. If you can make it one long run of the same type, it's just easier. It reduces the failure points. But if you don't have that option, then be mindful of that. You can have some issues down the road, but do yourself a favor and tape the crap and seal the crap out of that splice point.
Lots of great questions in the chat tonight. This is wonderful. You guys are taking precedent tonight. Appreciate it. If you have a question, put a Q in front of it. We've got about 6 minutes or so before we sign off for this episode, but we still got some time. Put a Q in front of your question. W1TRK asks, is there such a thing as a double bazooka fan dipole? All the benefits of a bazooka, but multi-band and fed with a single coax. Sexy talker, man.
Oh, yeah. And were you at my club meeting yesterday? Because I just mentioned that to a couple of club members, and their eyes kind of went, oh, really?
Like
and, we were talking about double bazookas and the Bennett, and I go, yeah. I have been toying with. God, I wanted to drop this on everybody, but now I have to.
Are you trying to make it? Are you trying to make it?
Yeah, doing something, I have been toying with the idea of coming up with a fan dipole or a fan double bazooka. Thinking of, okay, we'll build an 80-meter leg at 40 and 20, and that should, in theory, give us 4 bands, maybe 5. And so I'm still working out in my head the mechanics of it. I've already got an idea on the centerpiece and how we can deal with that. It's just going to be the spacing, and then how to deal with the ends. Do we have it droop down, or do we have it go out horizontally with the others? I'm going to try to come up with something, but I can see a need. It would be kind of a cool project, and see how that plays out. But
I would love to be your master beta.
Oh, if I build it, if I build one, it will be heading your way to throw it out on the onto the test range.
Yes, that sounds great. Thank you guys so much for the questions. It's been really cool to try to help you. That's why we're here. I definitely feel there's a shortage of mentoring in amateur radio, and as nature does its thing and our older generations die off. That sounds terrible. What do you? Oh, sorry.
Oh, Mark H is he's already starting to see I'm going to be diving under the Hamfest tables and stuff.
Yeah, sure.
So I have I got my little flashlight here, my O light, and we're going to get ready to start looking underneath the Hamfest tables. So yeah, for the coax deals.
Yeah, watch for the guys in summer wearing them short ones, because some things can sneak out on you, and you want to be careful.
Oh yeah, no, we're not looking for Gordos, but we're looking for coax.
Don't lay them hanging out there. If you're struggling with anything, let us know. Drop us a line on any of our social media. My email address is easy to get to, Christian at 100 Watts and a Wire. We're on Discord and Facebook and TikTok. I probably missed something, of course, here on YouTube, Sundays at 6 o'clock, so we're happy to help out. And if we don't know it, we'll go and look it up. We like to research it and be stumped. I love that you are starting a new antenna project. So, yeah, Steve will be rummaging through all of your stuff under the table, and that's a video. We need a video person to follow us along as we go and check out the small Hamfest under the table. I'll be looking for loose drawers. Like, you need some longer pants. I'll be like, bring them over here and give him some longer khakis. Your stones are hanging out, bruh. What kind of coax you get down there, Steve? Anything good? $10, dude. $10. You showed us your Gordos. Give the man a discount.
The Gordos are showing you there's going to be a discount.
So Lou says he misses Scotty and his hair follicles. I think it happens for bald guys like us, Lou. We, it's good to have a guy with the hair around, but when you have to pay for all that conditioning, and it's not as good. And he's shaking us down for some money. So my internet's down. I need a new hotspot. I need all that. Check us out on all the socials. What'd you say, Steve?
I think he's probably going to be one of that Elon, Starlink setup. He wants to set up on the roof.
That's also what I spray on my stuff when I sit at the Hamfest tables. My Elon Musks. A couple of those blasts, and you're on the way. I think with that in mind. Woo! Oh yeah, I'll pay the fine. Got a little quarter jar here. I think they call it, Steve. Well, thank you all for hanging out with us. We'll be switching over to live coverage of the 100 Watts and Wire Sunday Evening Net. Again, 6 o'clock Central. We do about an hour together, try to answer your questions, help you out, have a good time, smile, educate, and have some fellowship as we end a work week and get ready for the next one. Then we take it to the airwaves and see what we can do. We know our brother Don in Minnesota is working on 40 meters tonight, so if you're near a radio, 7214, he's trying to set up camp. And get that musk on your stones, man. Get that on there, on your Elons. I got a lot of problems. Steve, thank you so much. Thank you so much for coming and answering these questions. We didn't even have to crack into the vault. That's good.
No.
All the questions here were taking precedent tonight, so we appreciate that. Don't forget, do the Gigaparts thing if you don't mind. Open another browser. Go to the website real quick. Type in 100 watts. Poke around a little bit. See if there's anything you want to put on your wish list. Buy if you want to, but you don't have to. I think the traffic is the engagement there is what they're looking for. We appreciate you. All right, guys, we'll see you for episode number 391 real soon. 73, Steve.
73, Christian.
By all means, if you can, please try and stay above the noise. We'll see you guys later.
To join the 100 Watts and a Wire community, visit 100wattsandawire.com.